You know when you tell someone something so ridiculous that you know they're not gonna believe you? Well, today I'm tearing apart my throne of unhauled books. I have way too much time on my hands. Hi everyone, my name is Holly, and in today's video I am sharing with you all of the books that I am going to be unhauling. That's right, this throne of books you see behind me, you see? They are going. Also, real quick, I apologize for this really bad angle and the very harsh lighting in my glasses because I normally don't film right here. But there are just so many books that there was no way I was going to go into my normal filming spot to do this video. And I wanted to build a throne, okay? I deserve a throne. So if you saw my video from last week where I turned around every single unread book on my shelves, while I was filming that, I kind of kept a mental note of some of the books that I just wasn't excited to read whatsoever. I was absolutely dreading having them on my TBR, or books that I've read and I just know I'll never reread again. So even though I did a huge unhaul in January, we're doing another one. As you can see behind me, the stack is pretty tall enough to build a throne. Oh, and also there's a cat behind me right now, so this is very treacherous. Don't tell PETA. What are you doing back there? Your life is in danger. I'm not squashing any cats today. So this is an organized chaos. So there are so many series just strewed about in these piles, and I didn't put them all together, so I'm just gonna like start grabbing books and going through each and every one of them. So let's just go ahead and get started. So the first book here is Deep Blue by Jennifer Donnelly. This is a YA fantasy book that I'm just not interested in anymore. Ooh, we are getting juicy real quick. So I have Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Dark Artifices series. If you guys saw my video where me and Cassandra Clare broke up, I'll link it down below for you in case you missed it. I'm personally just not interested in the Shadowhunter world anymore, so I am unhauling all of the series besides the Infernal Devices. I don't know when or if I will unhaul those. We'll see as time goes on. Lady Midnight is in here somewhere. A Poison, Dark, and Drowning by Jessica Cluess. This is book 2. I have book 1 in here somewhere. The Crowns of Croswald by D.E. Knight. Ooh, we have another Cassandra Clare book, City of Ashes. This is book 2. Ruined and Avenged by Amy Tintera. This is a YA fantasy that is kind of a romance disguised as a fantasy. A lot of YA tends to be like that, so they gotta go. Up next, I have a trilogy that I'm just not interested in anymore, and that is The Girl at Midnight book 1, The Shadow Hour, and The Savage Dawn by Melissa Gray. I used to be interested in this series until I found out more about it, that it takes place in London, kind of like in a modern day setting, and it's just not something I'm interested in. Winter Song by S.J. Jones. Oh, and we have book 1, A Shadow Bright and Burning by Jessica Cluess. Alright, time to move on to this pile. So well, let's keep going. Kitty, are you okay? She's okay, don't worry. She's on this side, so that means I should probably, you know what, just for safety reasons. Okay, moving on. We have School Spirits by Rachel Hawkins. This is the 4th book in the Hex Hall series. I've read them. I really enjoyed them a few years ago, but it's not something I need to hold on to, and we'll see the other books very soon. They're somewhere in this disastrous pile. The Impossible Fortress by Jason Rekulak. That doesn't describe my throne, that's for sure. Dark Breaks the Dawn by Sarah B. Larson. I read a chapter of this and couldn't get any farther. And it's the same for Poisoned Kiss by Brianna Shields. I DNF'd it. I have an arc here of Romanov by Nadine Brandis. I read this and I liked it. I ended up giving it 3 stars, so it's not something I need to hold on to. City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, which is book 5. Thieves' Cunning by Sarah Ayres. This is book 2 and book 1 is in here somewhere. Talon and Rogue by Julie Kagawa. I mentioned the Talon in a kind of recent video of books that I keep forgetting that I own, and once I realized I still had it, I wasn't interested in it anymore. Ooh, we have Spellbound by Rachel Hawkins, City of Glass by Cassandra Clare, book 3, The Story Spinner by Becky Wallace, Garrison Girl by Rachel Aaron. I read this book and I ended up giving it 3 stars. It was just okay for me, but it's kind of a retelling of Attack on Titan, obviously. Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. I'm not used to this angle. I need to go over here. Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins. This is book 1. So I have These Broken Stars and This Shattered World, and I have the 3rd book somewhere in here by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This is a YA sci-fi that I just don't have interest in reading. Then we have City of Fallen Angels, book 4, and also the Shadowhunters Codex. Here's the 3rd book, by the way, Their Fractured Light. And then I have Cruel Beauty and The Crimson Bound by Rosamund Hodge. I've owned these for so long, and there's just no way I'm ever picking them up. And we have Demon Glass by Rachel Hawkins as well. So this next book is going to break all of your hearts, but that is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. So I've read 2 or 3 of Rainbow Rowell's books, and they're all kind of meh to me, so I just don't have any interest in going into this one. Even though this is a fantasy, I just don't care for her writing and her plots either. Ooh, we have another one that's kind of controversial, and that's Renegades by Marissa Meyer. Now, the only reason I bought this book is because of the Marissa Meyer name. I love the Lunar Chronicles, and I gotta be honest with myself, I seriously could not care less for superheroes. I've just never been interested in them, so this book is kind of about superheroes and villains and whatnot. It's just not something I want to read about. Up next, I have a classic here, and I do not like reading classics. I am keeping A Secret Garden though, because I am interested in that one just a little bit more. So I'm getting rid of A Little Princess. I found the kitty. Yes. Okay, up next we have a duology that I've read and hated, but that was The Wrath and the Dawn and The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Audier. Ooh, we have The Winter's Kiss by Marie Rutkowski, and this is either the 2nd or 3rd book in the Winter's Curse trilogy, and I'm getting rid of the whole trilogy. I'm just not interested in reading it anymore at all. I have Starflight by Melissa Landers. I read this, and I think I ended up giving it 2 stars. It was just eh. I have The Star-Touched Queen and A Crown of Wishes by Roshani Chomsky. I read The Star-Touched Queen and I absolutely hated it. I ended up giving it 1 star. It just was not for me whatsoever. And I found The Winter's Curse and The Winter's Crime and Starfall by Melissa Landers, which is book 2 to Starflight. And then we have City of Heavenly Fire, book 6 by Cassandra Clare. We have this pile next. An Inheritance of Ashes by Leah Babette. Spinning Starlight by R.C. Lewis. I love R.C. Lewis as an author. She is one of my favorites, but Spinning Starlight was a little bit of a disappointment for me. The Imposter Queen and the Cursed Queen by Sarah Fine. The Apple Tart of Hope by Sarah Moore Fitzgerald. I actually really enjoyed this, but it's not something I want to reread. I also have Firsts by Lori Elizabeth Flynn, another contemporary that I actually read, and I enjoyed this one, but again, not something I want to keep. The Great Hunt by Wendy Higgins. Assassin's Heart by Sarah Ayers. You saw book 2 earlier. I'm getting rid of this duology, Ivory and Bone and Obsidian and Stars by Julie Eshbo. This is supposed to be like Pride and Prejudice in a prehistoric era, which sounds really cool. At least the prehistoric era does, but not the Pride and Prejudice part. The Dark Days Club by Allison Goodman. Nightfall by Jake Halpern and Peter Kuczynski. I read this and I really enjoyed it. I actually did a spoiler-free review for it, but it's not something I see myself rereading. The Last of the Fire Drakes by Farah Umerboy. Butchered that name. And last but not least, I have Slayer by Kirsten White. Now, I have never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which this book is kind of a reimagining of that, and ever since this came out, all I've heard is that if you've watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you're going to probably enjoy this one a little bit more and understand it more. If you haven't seen the show, then you're gonna be absolutely confused, and I just don't have any interest in it. Alright, so that was my book unhauling. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me down below if you guys just have the urge to unhaul books every now and then, because I definitely get that urge, and I try to do bi-monthly book unhauls. I haven't done one since January, so I was definitely overdue for one. Go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and go ahead and subscribe. I upload videos every single week, and follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at HollyHeartsBooks and on Twitter at HollyNiece. And until we meet again, happy reading.